Good afternoon. You're listening to WUML Radio 91.5 FM in Lowell, Massachusetts. It's my pleasure and honor to invite David Cross on today on the show. Hello, David.
Hi, John. How are you?
I am very good.
Great. Good.
I hear you're coming to Lowell. You're going to be playing in Lowell in a week or two.
Apparently so. Yeah, that's it. I think that's our last concert before we head back to the UK. So,
at a place called the
looking forward to it.
Taffeta Music Club. It's like a 360-person club. It's real nice here in Lowell.
Sounds lovely. Sounds great. They've been doing some lovely venues. Been really enjoying it.
Tonight, you're what, in New York?
Yeah, we're at the Middle Ages Brewing something in Syracuse.
Yeah. So let's go back. Let's go back a few years. You were in a band called King Crimson for a couple years.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, 1972 to 74.
And it's 50 years from one of the records, actually. Larks Tongues In Aspic was 73.
That's right. And Starless and Bible Black was 74.
So are you playing any of that stuff in your sets with the band?
Yeah, we are. We're playing. We started with last year playing Larks Tongues In Aspic, and we're doing that in our set now because it's such a coherent piece as an album that we're playing the whole album. It's really, really an exciting thing to do.
Well, at the time it came out, that was a whole revolutionary record that people didn't hear stuff like that before that.
Yes, that's right, and I think it remains like that. I mean, I was quite surprised when I went back and decided to have a listen to it and see whether we could make it our own with my own band. And I really couldn't think of anything else that had kind of done anything as interesting in the meantime. I mean, there's been lots of different music, but I think what was particular about that time is it was a time for fusion. It was a time for bringing things together. So I think, musics that have happened that have been exciting since then have probably been more within specific styles or genres and not really trying to pull things together from different areas so much. So I think it still works. Yeah, I'm really enjoying playing it.
And that's a difficult piece for any musician to have to play.
Yes,
some of that stuff.
Yes, it is. In all sorts of ways. I mean, I've totally reworked, the violins in it now. I mean, the thing that's in Larks Tongues Part 1 is a sort of bouncing bow violin thing. I've refingered that. I do that quite differently now than I did then. I understand a lot more than I did in those days, as I should, I think, after 50 years. Don't you think I should have learned something? So I've learned to do that differently, and everybody in the band is finding their own way of playing the music, and making it work for them.
What was it like working for Robert Fripp?
I didn't work for him. I've never worked for Robert Fripp, so I don't know.
No, I mean in the band, with him in the band.
I worked with him. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, very good. Yeah, fantastic.
Now, I have a question for you. Did he record all those shows? Because, man, we've been seeing him come out during that period.
I don't know. You have to ask Robert about that. He runs the record company, nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of them are from people's own recordings, aren't they? I think he sort of collected, people's personal recordings and used those. I think he must have done. I don't see how they weren't all recorded by us. Certainly not that. We did a certain amount of live recording, but I think there's far more material out there than we ever officially recorded. I think.
Yeah, a lot of it. I've gotten to hear quite a few shows from that period, 73, 74, that are out there. And then you with John Wetton and Bill Bruford in the band at the time too.
That's right. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
A lot of fun, I bet you. Improvisation with you guys, getting some of that stuff down that you can't get every single time. It's always different when you're playing.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Well, we're not doing much of that. As John Mitchell just came into the room in the background, by the way.
You're a guitar player, right?
That's right, and lead singer. There he is. We're doing an interview here with for our last show in Lowell.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so there are a couple of sections where we kind of stretch out a bit. Easy Money is one of the ones that really has some space in it, and John and I both get a good go at doing some improvisation in that. And also, we've got a fantastic bass player, Nick Paul, and he, he's got a lot of technique as well, and he stretches out a lot in Exiles. There's a whole section with him.
Exiles,
So
good song.
we're keeping the spirit of this stuff very much alive. Yeah.
Good. So when you left after 74, or
Yeah.
in 74, actually, when you left, what'd you do
That's
after that?
I heaved a big sigh of relief. I had a nice walk across Hyde Park back to where I lived. It was a beautiful sunny day. I remember that, and I tried to reclaim my life.
Yeah.
So I did. So what I did, I'd done some. I trained to be a teacher, and I'd done music and drama as a second subject. So I actually spent a little while exploring that. So I did some acting classes, and I did some professional work. I worked as an actor for a while in theatre. I was very interested in theatre, and so I did a bit of that. And then I started. Once I got better at it, I started to realise it was just as hard as playing music, and in the end, I kind of decided to go back to music. Really, I was tending to get more work kind of in theatre, writing music for theatre rather than acting anyway. But also, I mean, I had to, I started buying a house. I had a mortgage, so like most people, I had to kind of have more regular money coming in, and being an actor wasn't the best way of doing that. And being a musician is quite hard too, so it wasn't all easy. So I did. I began to teach, did a lot of teaching. I ended up running a course training teachers at university in London. And I kept on making music. So I've always done a sort of parallel careers, really.
That's good.
So I stayed in education and kept playing and kept writing, making records as well. I'm very happy with it. I enjoyed it very much.
What made you decide to get back into music? You did that late in the 80s with this band.
Yeah, that started in the 80s. But I mean, before that, I was already playing music again. But it was a lot of it was improvised, highly improvised stuff, and didn't get much visibility. But I started with the Sheila Maloney, who's our keyboard player at the moment. We started off a band called They Came From Plymouth, and that was really a jazz band. We had an upright bass player, a sax player in it as well. And but fairly soon we realised that it was kind of mostly rock material, so we moved across into doing more rock venues, and it kind of developed from there. But I've always had the band going since the 80s. We've been touring. We toured in Europe. We played in Japan, and the UK, and now we're in the States. It's taken a long time to get here, but it's working well. Hi, Mick. Do you want to come and say hello?
Oh, hi.
I interviewed with John for our gig in Lowell. This is the amazing bass player, Mick Paul. I was telling you about.
How you doing?
Hi. I'm good, thank you.
You're welcome. That's good.
Yeah.
So
we're looking.
You guys are traveling south to
Sorry?
South America, I hear. You're going to be traveling to Chile and a couple other places.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're doing Argentina, Chile, Brazil, Mexico. I think.
Yeah, I think that's the order.
I think it'll be worth going.
And then Canada in between all that, somewhere in there I saw.
Yes, that's right. We're going up to Canada after soon. I think there's some
3 or 4 days or something.
I think there's one 7 o'clock start in the morning. I think to drive up to where are we going for that?
Quebec, I think.
Oh, up to Quebec. Yeah.
I think.
and that's so I think that's the hardest drive.
It's not too far away. Quebec's 6-7 hour drive, something like that. 8 hour drive, something like
but
that.
they want us there at 2 o'clock. So
Yeah, that's an early load in.
that is, yeah.
So, David, you have a lot of
Yeah.
records that you did with this band over the years. I was looking at
Yeah.
all of it. It's like, wow, amazing.
Yeah, we kept turning them out. Yes. No, I'm very happy with all of them. Actually, I think they all kind of work well.
Are they all? I haven't heard all of them. I've only heard a few of them. But are they all in the same vein or different?
No, some very, very different stuff. I started doing a thing called electric chamber music, which was basically just using effects, but in a kind of more chamber music context. So I did a couple of albums with that. I worked with a Japanese pianist called Naomi Maki. I worked with Andrew Keeling, who's a flute player, composer, and we worked together on a couple of albums. So it's improvisation based albums, but the idea is to just explore the use of delays and distortions and those kind of effects in a quiet sitting room way rather than in a sort of rock stage way. So no drums in them. It's the main thing.
So tell me, you have a new record out that came out last year. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it's Ice Blue Silver Sky, and it was around us. We had a sax player, David Jackson, been with us for a while. He's a sax player from Van de Graaff Generator, and then he left, and there were 4 of us left in the band, and we wanted to go forward with really with just us, and we were trying to see how to make that work. And it was kind of an experiment, that album, really. It was to try and sorry, can you just hold on a minute? Sure. Sorry. I can't hear anything. Sorry, just bringing food in at the moment.
That's all right. That's okay. Go ahead if you want.
Anyway, it was an experiment to try and see which was more important, the music or the people, really. And I figured the people were more important because they made the music, and that was the premise on which I put the album together. So we did a lot of chat about what we wanted to do and how we got into music and how it all came about. And we tried to foreground all of that, by using these recordings, picking out, key lines from different people, which seemed to reflect their personalities and stuff. And so we tried to have that everywhere. And it just failed completely in terms of the effect that I wanted to create. The music just became more important all the time. And kind of whenever these little bits of conversation popped up, they kind of, they were quietly interesting, but they were just very much overshadowed as significant events by the music. The music was much more important. So I kind of learned a lesson from it, I suppose, which the music will somehow win out. And it's kind of interesting because it's although the musicians actually create the music, it's much more like the music uses the musicians to perpetuate itself. It's like a kind of cultural thing that has strength, persistence, and a dynamic that's kind of different from the people that are actually engaged with it. So it was quite a profound thing, really. I was quite shocked by how powerful it was.
Yep.
And how unimportant really the vehicles, the musicians, seem to be. Although we're the ones actually apparently generating it. So it was a good lesson for me to kind of let the music do its thing. Really, I think our job maybe is just not to get in the way, something like that.
I was looking through your discography of music, and there's a lot of David Cross band records, but there's another band that you were part of and it did 5 records with, called Radius. Tell me about that period.
Oh yeah, that was kind of in the period that was before the David Cross band. Really, that was and I said, well, I was doing a lot of improvising then, and a lot of that was, it was a kind of, it was a guy called Jeff Searle, and he used to create backing tracks basically, and then, or he would, he would improvise them. He would, use drum machines and stuff like that. He would create textures. Sometimes he played real drums, but he was really interesting as a producer because he was the first person, I think, who managed to get me doing something that I didn't believe I was capable of doing. I remember that it just happened sort of spontaneously, recording. I just listened back to something and thought, wow, did I play that? Oh, that's fantastic. That's really good. Much better than I ever thought I could do. And it was something to do with the way that he'd set it up. He'd made me feel comfortable, and he'd found he kind of understood intuitively how I wanted to play. And he set up a track that I automatically worked with and automatically tuned into. So I persisted. I did a number of records, with him, and they were all interesting, But it was his baby really, and I didn't really understand it that well, but I used to turn up and do my bit, and it seemed to work.
Yeah. 5 records worth of work. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't really know what. I haven't revisited it. I haven't listened to it again, and I kind of lost touch with Jeff. He kind of disappeared off the scene. I think I did connect with him again about a year ago, but I don't think he's doing very much now, which is a shame because he was a great enabler, certainly for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
After all that,
nobody ever asked me about Radius. That's quite interesting that you came up with that.
You like that, huh?
I do. Yeah, I'm very impressed. I'd forgotten about it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's 5 records. That's a good amount of time to be with.
I guess so. I guess it is, isn't it? Yeah.
And then, about 9 years ago, you have another record you did one with Robert Fripp.
Yeah, that was a bit of an obsession. That was this Starless theme, and it's one of those things that I kind of just got kind of haunted me really, and because I just kept coming back to it, as though I hadn't finished with it. I suppose one of the things was that I've been involved in when it was kind of put together, when it was started to be created in King Crimson, and then I'd gone by the time that tune was actually released, which was on Red.
Yeah.
So I didn't play on it. So I suppose there was always a little bit of unfinished business there to do with that I thought I should do a version of that. But it kind of went beyond that, and I got a bit obsessed with trying to find different ways of exploring that material. So that's exactly what I did in that album. I just started doing it, kind of spontaneous. I just started seeing how many different kinds of backgrounds, how many different kinds of ways of interpreting it I could manage, and I was quite, and I ended up with so much in the end I couldn't deal with it, and I asked an old friend of mine, Tony Lowe, to come in and see if he could sort it out, which he did very neatly actually, and produce some quite focused mixes of it, which made sense in the end. So it covered quite a wide range. But it wasn't until the whole thing was finished that I kind of dawned on me that it was all in the same key all the way through.
Yeah.
Because I'd just been working at the original key, and that's kind of for any classical composer, I mean, that would be number one. Is you do a key change or something.
So,
and it was daft. I never even thought that far about it. But actually, it didn't seem to hurt. It's kind of that made it the consistent thing. So, although the styles changed throughout the album to some extent, the key being the same maybe helped give it a kind of consistency.
So there was unfinished business with Starless as you were leaving.
I think so. Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. And I thought that had put it to bed. It kind of put it to bed for me. I stopped messing with it so much. but but so I kind of stopped. It didn't kind of wake me up in the middle of the night. It used to bother me, that tune, but we still play it. We play it now, and we did on Ice Blue Silver Sky. We've done a new version of it with some kind of bringing alive the Undermilk Wood side of it, because the phrase Starless and Bible Black comes from the Dylan Thomas in a voice play, Undermilk Wood. So I retrieved more from Undermilk Wood, and we've used parts of that, the voices from that within the to kind of add some tension to the instrumental section.
So where did the name Larks Tongues In Aspic come from?
I can't remember. I think it was Jamie Muir. I think he thought of it. I think that was his.
Yeah,
his
I think you're right. He did come up with the name, and it fit. I guess it fit the piece of music, is what I read.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be. I think it was supposed to be something unpleasant in something nice in something unpleasant. So I think, but it was kind of like the idea that aspic wasn't something nice. It was basically a preservative and not something you would want. The lark's tongue was something rather precious, I suppose. But then I don't think we imagined actually eating the lark's tongues or anything like that. So I don't know. I guess it sounded very original. I suppose that was one of the things.
Well, there were two. There was version one, the first one, and then 1 and 2 were on the album.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then Robert did 3 and 4 after that.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Which are a little different.
With those. Yeah, I don't know them. I only know 1 and 2.
And so how does the band play those songs now with you? Even though, like I said, it was not easy. Those songs were not easy to do unless you have good musicians to do them.
No, they're not.
I need to stop now. People have not had any food because we've been doing the interview and stuff.
Oh, all right. I'll let you go. Thank you.
But thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Sorry about the ending.
That's all right. Have a good day.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.